All right, so the NQF system also does look at the aspects of quality control. Quality control. In other words, the NQF allows us to understand what is a unit standard, what does it comprise of, and how is it assessed. It also talks about the qualification structure, how a qualification is structured, what you need to look for when you're conducting assessment in a qualification. It also leads us to understand the training providers. Before you go and assess for someone, you need to first evaluate if they are indeed registered or accredited training providers. Facilitators. The quality controls works in that you as an assessor, before you conduct assessment on the work that you never facilitated, you need to verify that indeed the facilitator was a registered facilitator or has got the documentations or the requirements to facilitate such an intervention, and all facilitation methodologies were followed for compliance in terms of program delivery. So in this case, you will be working as an advisor. Okay, so quality control also looks at the assessor, that yourself, before you conduct assessment, you will be registered as a constituent assessor. So in other words, you cannot assess a program that you are not registered against for. You must be registered on a qualification that you intend to assess. If you do assess a program and you're not registered for that qualification, your assessment will be null and void. It will be like a malpractice. So it won't even be considered at all. So it will be a waste. Always make sure that once you complete this course, you need to register yourself for on the qualifications that you intend to assess. The institutions that are offering you an assignment to complete assessment needs to be registered as well. They need to be registered not only with the quality councils, but also they must be registered against the qualification that you are going to assess. We see this that in most cases, a lot of training providers, more especially training providers who are privately training individuals on different qualifications, they just take up qualifications from anywhere and then they start to implement or market, and then they run the program, and thinking that once the learners complete, someone will just come and look at the program and conduct assessment, and all. There's a lot of malpractices happening out there. You as an assessor need to make sure, or to first verify that indeed the institution is registered for the qualifications. They are registered for the qualifications that you are intending to conduct assessment on. If the institution is not registered, you do not dismiss them, but support them towards achieving the accreditation that they do require. Right, so that's your role. The course material must be aligned to unit standards. This is very much important. A lot of people literally don't understand the aspect and the importance of course material. This one, course material needs to be aligned. A lot of training providers just get material out there, and the material does not talk to the standardization of the material that needs to be utilized. There must be a learner guide. There must be a facilitator guide. There must be an assessment guide, and then there must be assessment instruments and moderation instruments that will be used to moderate the entire learning program. So it's your role as an assessor to make sure that before indeed you conduct assessment, those documents are available and you go through them to check that indeed whatever you're going to be looking for as evidence does speak to the learner guide. In other words, they must speak to the facilitation methodologies used. A facilitator guide is a guideline that is given to a facilitator which has got all what needs to be covered in the learning program, including the matrices, activities, assignments, projects, and all that, which ultimately must be mapped onto the unit standard. We shall look at some of the examples of unit standards and see how you can be able to integrate a unit standard information into the learning material. Also, we have got a full course called Learning Material Development and Assessment. This is for individuals who design and develop instructional materials. So you can be part of that. Our courses are available as well online and guides individuals on how to design and develop learning materials. Makes extra money by becoming a program or material developer. Right, so yeah, these are very much important. An assessor, you must be able to know and understand the course material, the material that is used to implement a learning program. Without course material, you cannot conduct assessment because you won't know what evidence is required. So the course material is always aligned to either qualification or a unit standard, right? Either qualification or a unit standard. The evaluation process needs to be monitored and controlled. So you need to use your assessment principles to conduct all evaluations on whatever evidence that has been gathered. Okay, we'll take you through onto understanding more of this material part of it, what's supposed to be given. 120 multiplied by 10, 1,200 notional hours. Let us get another one. A qualification of 140 credits will be subsequently equals to 1,400 notional hours. Now, this is the time that one needs to spend. What needs to be understood is the word notional hours. Now, the notional hour matrix is demonstrated as the total amount of time spent on completing a given learning program. That those hours includes all generic hours like reading, self-study, assignments, coursework, projects, activities in class or outside class, all that assessments put together, the amount of time spent is what we call the notional hours. Okay? It's your role as an assessor now to make a calculations that how many days must you spend in class facilitating a learning program or assessing a learning program. This is how we do it. We get all this and divide it by the normal standard working hours, which is 8. What do you get? We get 150, okay? 150 days. Now these ones become days. 150 days. That you take 1,200 and divide it by 8. Why 8? Because 8 is the standard notional hours for work, isn't it? The standard hours for work. They've already been allocated as 8 hours per day. So you get that, divide by 8, you get the number of days. Number of days here. Okay, so let us get this one as well. If I've got a qualification that has got 1,400 notional hours, divide by 8, what do you get? Divide by 8, what do you get? 175. 175. Okay, these are days. These are days. Remember, it is your role as an assessor to know how to make these calculations, because it's going to help you to plan well. So out of, let's say, 175 days, you are able to calculate how many days going to be for class, how many days going to be for assignments, how many days going to be for the examinations or assessment, whatever case might be. So it gives you a proper planning. So you can even sit down and design what is called a rollout plan as an assessor. Then it will also help you during what is called the assessment planning. One of the key components we're going to be learning is how to develop an assessment plan. Assessment plan is used to conduct assessment on or against the qualification that we intend to assess. So before you conduct assessment or you assess individuals, so it means you're going to develop an assessment plan. So that assessment plan is going to help you to score individuals against standards that have been set in the assessment policy or in the assessment guideline. The only way to do that is to know how long will your assessment take. If you don't know how long the assessment takes, then you won't be able to score. If you don't know how long the course takes, you won't be able to allocate. Remember, there's scoring individuals against competence, and then there is also scoring individuals against time allocation of credits. So a facilitator facilitates learning, but he uses a lesson plan to conduct facilitation. Are we clear with that? Right? A facilitator uses a lesson plan, isn't it? Same way a business operates on a business plan, isn't it? Yeah? It's the same principle. So sometimes you can deviate from the business plan because you've mastered it, is in you. But sometimes people stick to the policies of the business plan, stick to the guidelines of the business plan for efficiency. All right? And those that stick to it and stick to the budgets, they always prosper. Those that deviate and don't look at them, they always go astray. It's like that. So assessors also ultimately are required to develop assessment plans. So the only way for you to come with an appropriate assessment plan is to understand time. If you don't understand time, your assessment plan won't be perfect, won't work well for you. So you need to develop an assessment plan based on the number of credits given in a qualification or in a unit standard. Then you can allocate that this activity 1 will take 30 minutes. This activity 2 will take 34 or 1 hour. This exam is going to take, let's say, 2 hours, and it's going to be answered in 2 sessions. It's you to allocate that and break down all that time in terms of allocation against the assessment that have been given. Your role as an assessor. Is given under what is called the assessment criterion. So some unit standard will have specific outcome, which is 1, but they have many assessment criteria. So it's your role to assess on each and every criterion that has been provided. Don't conduct assessment just on 1 and then you leave it there. It's not going to be sufficient evidence. When the evaluators come and search for evidence to see how assessment was done, this will be insufficient evidence if you leave out other criterion, because they won't point out exactly what has been done. But then you go on conduct assessment on the second criterion, the reasons why people would or would not choose an insurance investment are explored by means of surveys. I mean, that survey that you are doing is going to be extensive. Give reasons why. So when you go to conduct a survey, they will be asking themselves, they will be asking individuals in communities, why are you not choosing this? Why don't you have a TV insurance? Why don't you have? Then they will be giving their own answers. So those evidence that they gather from this in form of a report will be what you'll be looking for as an assessor, as evidence. So you can see that assessment is not just to tick and get the paper, but it's to guide people, because if we can guide someone to go out and build and develop a survey and choose what to talk about and ask people in terms of the questionnaire that they have come up with, or an interview that they have come up with, is going to guide them. When they exit the course, they know exactly how to conduct a research, they know exactly how to compile a report, they know how to analyze and investigate information, so they are competent in all ways, not just giving competency to people that they didn't do anything. That's why I say, assessors, you are a judge. You are acting as a judge to look for evidence against competency. Okay. With that being said, I'm gonna leave it now for here, and then at this moment you are eligible to go back to your student panel portal and complete activity 1 and 2. Okay, thank you so much. I'm going to stop this, and then I'm going to close it.